Good evening. I really didn't know if I was going to do this again. It's been quite a while, and I apologize for being gone so long, but I had to get me ready because I still doubt myself. I still don't believe enough in myself that I can make a difference in anyone's lives. And I was recently told that my story has touched others' lives, and who am I to stop that? So tonight I come to you and I have been in Toastmasters for years. I had written this speech for Toastmasters, and it's a true story. It's about my life, and I'd like to share it with you. And I want you to understand that you do have a choice. You really do. I can't tell you what choice to make. Only you can do that. So let me start off by telling you that growing up, I have heard people say that you have choices, that you can choose to go to college, you can choose to just get a job or a career that you want, you can choose to get married or not get married, you can choose to have children or not have children, you can choose to lie, to steal, to cheat, to hurt people. You can choose to go left, you can choose to go right, you can choose right or you can choose wrong. But you have choices. But what if you feel like you don't have a choice? Or what happens if you're not allowed to make a choice? When I grew up, it's far, far away from where I live right now. In the home that I lived in, there was my mother. And I apologize for that. Let me turn that off. There was my mother and her husband, and she was due to have my baby sister. There was a baby on the way. I have three older siblings that were forced to leave our home, and they didn't have a choice. And I didn't have a choice, and I was forced to stay where I was at. I was about 6 or 7 when this took place. I didn't have a choice to live with my dad. I didn't have a choice to call this new man anything but dad, even though I had my own dad. And if I didn't call him dad, I got smacked around. And I'm not talking a smack on the bottom. I'm talking being yanked by the arm, literally just yanked by the arm and being smacked really hard across the face, almost to the point that sometimes I even had handprints on my face. If I called him dad, then all was well. And I learned that really quick. I really did. I learned that really quick. That was a trick that you learn well. And I also knew that if there was other people around and I called him by his first name, I got away with it. I knew that too. So living in that household, it was like you're walking on eggshells. You always had to be careful what you said, when you said it, or even be seen. For me, it was just being seen. If I was seen, I was in trouble. Sometimes you'd get whippings and beatings. You would crack to get that. So choices. So my sister was born. I ended up taking care of her every morning before going to school, every day after school, every weekend. Care of her all the time. The only times I didn't take care of her is when we were either one in public, we had company over, and then my mother chose to try to be the mother of the year type deal, or if I was with my real dad and stepmom. She was always looking for praise, because she's a good mom. That was her choice. Shortly after my sister was born, my dad had told me that no one would understand the love that we share. Like most children, I wanted love and affection. So I thought I was choosing to accept his love that he was showing me. When I was 11, and I started what everyone called the curse back then, your women time. I was told by my dad that he didn't love me anymore. Little did I know that this was his choice due to not wanting to get me pregnant. But I did not know that back then, mind you. At the tender age of 12, I went looking for love. You know, that old saying, looking for love in all the wrong places. That was me. And I would find love with men. And mind you, I was about 12. The men were about 17 years of age and up. When I became an adult, it was so ingrained in me that sex was the only way that you would be loved, the only way. And I married the first person who verbally told me he loved me. I did. I married that first person that said, I love you. Now, I told my husband what had happened to me as a child, and he chose to use that against me. He informed me that it was all my fault, that I was a tramp, I was a whore, and that I was lucky that he loved me enough to overlook all my faults. I chose to stay with him. After all, he told me he loved me. Choices, people, choices. I ended up having 3 children by him, and he chose to treat me like a punching bag. If I hadn't made him mad, he said he wouldn't have hit me. Well, maybe he was right. And again, I chose to stay. I started gaining weight, and he'd hit me. He'd make up for it by buying me chocolate. My favorite's chocolate. And then he'd tell me I was a fat cow. He would tell me that no one would love me as fat as I am like he does. And I'm lucky to have him in my life to love me, all my fatness and all. I chose to continue eating the candy. And I chose to continue gaining weight. Choices. After 13 years of marriage, I divorced him. And here's the reason why. I came home from work one day, and he had our 8-year-old son by the throat, off the ground, threatening to kill him. And I told him that he would never, never lay a hand on my children again. And I chose to leave. So shortly after leaving him, and after I filed for divorce, I knew I needed help. I knew I needed help, but I didn't have money to see a counselor. And I had 3 children. What was I supposed to do? I just couldn't just leave them with anyone. That wasn't going to happen. So instead, I went to my local Christian bookstore and I bought books on what to expect before marriage, after marriage, how to raise children as a single parent, and the 5 languages of love. And it opened my eyes to the abuse I was subjecting not only my children to, but myself as well. And I chose to raise my children right then and there, free of abuse, that I now see it for what it was. I chose to change. I chose to cue a positive attitude. I refuse to let the abuse alter who I am or to excuse me to make any horrible choices. I chose not to abuse my own children. That's a choice. I chose not to do it. I chose to do something about it. And right now, I am making a conscious choice to share my story in hopes that it may help others, maybe encourage or inspire others to choose a different path than the one that they're in. I am choosing to open up my heart, to hopefully open eyes that may once have been blind, maybe hopefully open their ears to hear the voice where once there was nothing but shouting. Maybe shouting at the top of their lungs on a rooftop saying, help is available. Hope is here. If they make that choice. So I'm choosing to step out of my comfort zone and to share my story so that others know that they have a choice. You have a choice. And if you know others, you can tell them that they have a choice too. There is help out there. They are not alone. I promise you're not alone. As children, we may not have many choices or any choices at all, but as adults, we do. So I ask you, what will you choose today? Will you choose to stay blind to the domestic violence around you? Will you open your eyes, your heart, and maybe even your arms to those that may not know they have choices? What will you do when your neighbor or friend confides their abuse to you? What will you choose to do? If you bear with me, I would like to share a poem that I had written. Let me get it real quick. I I thought it would be a beautiful ending here, so just give me a second to find it. I do apologize. I probably should have had it up. Okay, come on. There we go. All right, so I wrote this poem about 5 years ago, and I have thought about what I should do. And I have come to the conclusion to help you, you, and you. It's time we put a voice to the unknown, unwelcome choice, whether it be your next door neighbor or friend. It's time we bring domestic violence to an end. So stop the train, hold the press. We need to stop this mess. It's time to protect the innocent, to open our eyes to the incidents. So open your eyes and see all the damage it's doing to you and me. It's time to shout all over town that we aren't taking this laying down. Domestic violence needs to cease, or else we will call the protective police. How have they managed to avoid detection? Our friends and families need our protection. So please open your eyes, your hearts and ears. Love one another unconditionally through the years. Give of yourself to someone who has none. Share of yourself to many or just to one. All your local county to help one another. It could happen to your sister, brother. Need help from time to time. Choose to help in this crime. Please let me know what you think of my story, my poem. Do you want more? I hope so, because I plan on doing more. Just know that God loves you, and so do I. That's why I'm here. I am stepping up my game. I have taken classes that I need to become a life coach to help people like me, like you. You can find me email address at safelife.com. And Safe Life is SAAFE, and that stands for Survivors Against Abuse for Everyone's Life. Safe Life. And I hope you've enjoyed the story. I hope it has helped you somehow. If you like it, please don't forget to subscribe and follow along, because I've got more coming. Every week I'll be doing this. And every week I want to touch someone's heart, someone's mind. Maybe they can pass it along and help others. That's all I want to do, is to help one, to help others, and others can help others. Pay it forward to help one another. Again, remember, God loves you, and so do I. Thank you.